You're watching KSL Sports Live.
You know, in recent Utah football history, the Utes, they've cranked out some great playmaking tight ends. Dalton Kincaid, he's now sharing hhis talents with the Buffalo Bills. Brant Kuithe, he's pursuing an NFL gig as well. Now, it could be Landen King's turn to fill the void that those two have left behind in recent years. King played the first 2 years of his college football career in the SEC with Auburn. He played just 11 games and scored 1 touchdown in that time. Then he came to Utah in 2023. He had 14 catches for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns that season before seeing just a bit of a fall off last season, just 3 catches for 54 yards and a score. Well, this spring, he's already been emerging as the go-to target at his position. A career season could be on the horizon. But more than that, King just wants to win a conference title.
Obviously, everybody wants to catch the ball, score touchdowns, but honestly, I'm trying to get that Big 12 championship and get a chance in this playoffs. This is my last year, in college football. So really just taking advantage of this as, a team aspect of it. I've never won a championship, in my football career. So, being able to come out here, and work towards that goal, that's what's been keeping me going.
Well, I mentioned some of the past playmaking tight ends at the U. In Saturday's team scrimmage at Rice-Eccles, Landen caught multiple passes from his new quarterback, Devon Dampier, including multiple touchdowns. King thinks that having playmakers at his position is probably something Dampier may not have had down at New Mexico.
Well, we got tight ends over here. I don't know what they had in New Mexico, but, we got tight ends over here. So, the thing with Coach Beck's offense, the playmakers are going to make plays. Playmakers are going to get put in the spot. So if you're a playmaker, you're going to get put in that spot. So.
Former BYU Cougar Andy Reid, he'll go down as one of the all-time great head coaches in NFL history. He's coached 6 teams in the Super Bowl. He's won 3 of those Super Bowls. You can take Reid out of Utah, but you can't take his Utah connections out of him. He still loves this state. Reid was back in Utah this weekend as a special guest for the governor's State of Sports Awards. He keeps close tabs on what happens in the Beehive State, the growth of professional sports with the addition of the NHL this past season. Of course, Utah's Rose Bowl trips in recent years and BYU's success in the Big 12 now. The Jazz trying to rebuild, he's noticed all of it. And he said it's unbelievable what is happening in this state for sports, including the great success that both Kyle Whittingham and Kalani Sitake are having on the football field.
Yeah, I'm a big Kalani fan. I love the way he goes about his business. Tremendous person, great recruiter. He's got a huge venue here that he's entering with, with the new conference. But they sure did a nice job with it last year, and I know he'll build off of that going forward here. If Kyle comes back and visits, and/or if I'm out here, I have a chance to visit with him. So we stay in contact, and he's a phenomenal football coach. He's got a great mind, and the things he's done at this university here in Salt Lake City is just it's been incredible. It'd be very hard to copy that going forward.
Those old Cougar connections stay strong. In the NBA, the Detroit Pistons locked in on their spot to the playoffs after winning only 14 games last season, taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Second half, Hawks' Jalen Johnson drives, shakes off the defender to find Zach Edey for the slam. The Grizz were up 4. The Grizzlies lead by as much as 9, but Cade Cunningham drives, gets the bucket to spark a Pistons comeback and the foul. Final minute, Pistons down 3. Desmond Bane, the clutch three-pointer. The Grizzlies get the road win, 109-103. It was all the way back in 1985 that John Stockton dished out 415 assists. No one would have predicted then that he would go on to finish with an NBA record 15,806 assists for his career. But that was the start of it all right there in this video. And it was then a Jazz rookie record for assists in a season. Probably a record that wasn't thought much of until now, because it was a record that Jazz rookie guard Isaiah Collier was threatening to break earlier this week. He's had quite the season, and this week against the Pacers, Collier dished out 5 assists, just enough against the Hornets, just enough to pass John Stockton, setting the new Jazz rookie record for assists in a season, a record that will continue to grow between now and season's end. And as of today, that number is already up to 434 assists. Well, with 6 games left on the season, the Utah Jazz have announced that rookie Cody Williams will miss the remainder of the season with mononucleosis. After being taken with the 10th overall pick in last year's NBA draft, Williams played in 50 games for the Jazz, averaging 4.6 points. He shot just 32% from the field. All right, well, who is entering the transfer portal? I'll tell you some of those names. Some good news for the BYU women's basketball team, too. A new head coach and a big-time player returning. That's all coming up next. The BYU women's basketball team got some good news this week. Superstar freshman Delaney Gibb announced on social media that she will return for her sophomore season. Gibb was named unanimous Big 12 Freshman of the Year, averaging 17.4 points per game. And she will undoubtedly be a key piece in the Cougars program under new leadership this next season. This week, the school introduced its new head coach, announcing that Lee Camard would be taking over as the new head coach for BYU women's basketball. Camard served as the associate head coach for the past 3 seasons under Amber Whiting. He was also on Jeff Judkin's staff since 2019. Now he becomes the 8th head coach in program history. In 2021, Camard stepped in as interim head coach for 3 games while Coach Judkins was out with COVID. Camard led the Cougars to wins in all 3 of those games. Camard also played for the BYU men's basketball team from 2005 to 2009, where he was named the Mountain West Co-Player of the Year in 2008. He is also the Cougars' 16th all-time leading scorer.
Excellence is the expectation, and that's how we do everything. It's in our mindset. It's in our approach to things. It's in our preparation. It's how we work. That's the expectation, and they know that, and they're wanting that. I would imagine it looks a lot like how I played. Scrappy, tough, work ethics there. Tom talked about competitiveness. We're going to have all of that, and you're going to be able to see that.
Well, with the men's program, BYU guard Dallin Hall announced on his Instagram page that he will be entering the transfer portal. In his message, he said in part, quote, "While this decision has been very difficult, I know my time at BYU has prepared me well for the next chapter in my basketball journey." Hall averaged 6.8 points last season, the lowest in his 3-year career, and 4.2 assists while shooting 35% from three-point range for the Cougars. A key player to the Utah men's basketball team may not be back next season. Ezra Asar has announced he is in the transfer portal. Asar was second on the Utes in scoring this past season with a career high of 12.5 points per game. He was also second in rebounds with 5 per game. Good news for the running Utes, though. Utah forward Keanu Dawes has withdrawn his name from the portal after initially entering over the weekend. Dawes averaged 8 points, 6.3 rebounds, and shot 60% from the field last season for the running Utes. A pair of All-Americans were on the court this week. We'll show you what A.J. Debansa and Emily Skinner did next. Debansa was playing in the 2025 McDonald's All-America game. The first McDonald's All-American repping BYU since Garner Meade did back in 2000. Was it worth the wait? Well, Debansa got off to a good start, quickly and emphatically putting points on the board. Of course, he enjoys those high-percentage dunks. AJ started and finished the game with dunks. He's the real deal, at least it appears, right? Debansa finishes with a total of 17 points, 5 rebounds in this game. And let's not stop the McDonald's fun there. Ridgeline's Emily Skinner also competed in the girls All-America game. Took Skinner less than a minute into the game to produce the highlight of the night, saving the ball from going out of bounds, but does so with the behind-the-back pass. Skinner had 6 assists in the first half. In the second half, Sienna Bedditz to Skinner for the give-and-go layup. Skinner capped off her night with a tough and-one bucket, too. A great performance by Skinner as she prepares to play for the Duke Blue Devils next season. Oh, college basketball. It's ending this weekend, but we already can't wait till next year. We'll see you tonight at 9